Now that we've seen all the cards for Alterac Valley, I thought it would be fun to go through what I believe is the best 10 cards of the set to look back on this moment and see how wrong I was or how right I was. I think I have a pretty good list here and I'm pretty happy with it overall, but let me know in the comments down below what your 10 cards were and if you think my list is bad or good, whatever. If you enjoy this, subscribe. It would be awesome if you could. You look fantastic.
I'm a doctor.
Coming in at the number 10 spot, I have Dunbalder Bridge. This is the 4-mana paladin spell. After you summon a minion, give it +2/+2 and it lasts 3 turns. Now, first glance at this card, I wasn't super optimistic on it, but you actually can look at paladin's whole, card set right now for standard and realize how much they can actually summon and how impactful this card will actually be. If you do this on turn 4 into Derailed Coaster, which summons a 1/1 minion for every minion in your hand, with Rush, you are basically turning the tide on almost everything that is on the board. That's how powerful this card can be. It works really well with summoning dudes, especially with Divine Shields. And because this is on literally every single minion, the second this card is played, it's like a really big buff overall. To give you some context, Blessing of Kings was a 4-mana 4/4. This is 4 mana for arguably like 10/10 of stats depending on what you're playing. I think this card will probably see play at some point. May not be super good during an OTK meta like in Alterac Valley if we're gonna follow United Stormwind, but as soon as board matters a lot more, this card is very terrifying to play against. At number 9, I have Shield Shatter. This is the 10 mana warrior spell. Deal 5 damage to all minions, cost 1 less for each armor you have. It is a frost spell. Now, this card on its own is not great, but there is a warrior spell that was also introduced in this set that says 2 mana, gain 10 armor, lose 5 armor next turn. So with that card alone, this is 0 mana to deal 5 damage to all minions, which is absolutely bonkers. That is a 2-card combo that I think a lot of people would want to play in their deck. You would put this into big warrior, you put this into some kind of control warrior, even pirate warrior to, if with the quest and then you just delay, could actually have a real reason to play this. Shield Shatter is a really powerful card. It just wins you the game against some of the aggro decks. So if you like winning games against aggro decks, I can't imagine a world where this card's not going to be played. It just seems too good. Next on the list, I have Lightforged Carryall. Now, I am pretty optimistic on Lightforged Carryall for one reason only, is the immovable object. Now, I do think this card is kind of interesting because it rounds up the damage, but you're taking half of it. So for instance, if you're taking 10, you take 5, if you take 11, you're taking 6, right? Because it rounds up. Now, the only issue with this card is that it is kind of later in the game. It's at 7 mana, but if this card is played and your opponent does not have weapon tech and they're an OTK deck, you are kind of winning that game almost every single point of the time because it's so difficult to get through that much damage if you're playing an OTK deck because everything is, in half. Now, this card's also just good against aggro because if they can't hit if they're gonna hit your face, you're still taking half the damage. You're dealing 2 damage to all enemies. It just seems like a really good card to put into almost every single paladin deck, maybe besides Libram. But I'm sure at some point there will be a paladin deck that will play for a late game board state, maybe big paladin, for example. And I think Lightforged Carryall has the real potential to be one of the best cards from the set. Next on the list is Windshield. 1 mana. Frost Shaman spell, freeze a minion, draw a card. This card's really good. It's a 1 mana cycle that delays the turn. For context, Priest used to use Power Word Shield, which was 1 mana, give a minion +2 life and draw a card. This is almost the same thing, except for you're freezing a minion, which is very good. Gives you more time to find either your combo pieces for some kind of Bolnir combo, has the potential to just delay a whole turn so you don't die, is good in, basically every single shaman deck. Good in tempo, good in control, really good card to get off of Fireheart. I think overall Windshield is looking really good, and it's another reason to run Wandmaker. There we go, in your shaman deck. I think the card's great. You could also generate it with using that 2 mana 3/2 elemental, but I think this card has a lot of potential. Next on the list is Flanking Maneuver. 4 mana Demon Hunter spell, summon a 4/2 demon with rush. If it dies this turn, summon another. This card's insane. It works really well with Token Demon Hunter, the whole archetype there. I could even probably foot into this spot the Demon Hunter Hero. I think they're about the equivalent, but I only picked this one because I think this one is more usable in early game. Sometimes you're not going to really have the potential to use your hero power as much before you use the Kurtrus Hero. So I do like Flanking Maneuver quite a bit. It's basically an 8/4 to kill 2 minions on the board. It is extremely good to delay time. It's really good at discounting the giants. It's Cards just seems good. I don't know. It kind of reminds me a lot of like Alliance Bannerman, just like a really good card, nothing too shiny, but like will just do a lot of work. So I'm really optimistic on this card. Next on the list is Frostwolf Warmaster. 4 mana 3/3, cost 1 less for each card you played this turn. Now, I think a lot of people don't really see this card as that strong, but I couldn't disagree more. I think this card in Rogue is disgusting. Rogue is getting a lot of aggro tools this expansion, and you could easily make this card on turn 2 a 0 cost card. So not only are you doing all your crazy Rogue stuff early on, but you're also developing a 3/3 behind it, which could be the difference of you winning or losing the game in some kind of aggro matchup. I do think this card is not the best card in the set, but I think a lot of people are going to be looking at this and being like, wow, I really want this card to be nerfed because I'm sick and tired of playing against it. And I feel like this has the same effect as Fellwing, if you remember that card. But in my opinion, it's just easier to do because in Rogue, it's like a turn 1, turn 2 thing that you can do, especially with the coin. It's so easy to do this. It just seems pretty good. Rogue also has a lot of draw, so you're not really losing card value for this. Next on the list, we have Shivering Sorceress. 1 mana 2/2, which is already good. Mage card, battle cry, reduce the cost of the highest cost spell in your hand by 1. You put this in Quest Mage if you want to. You could put this into any big mage. You could put this into literally anything you want. This card's gonna be good enough at some point or another. You could also just make Incanter's Flow 2 mana again. It's like they didn't even nerf it. Haha. I do think this card is better in a lower costed spell deck because reducing 1 off a 2 mana spell is a 50% reduction, where if like you're doing it on a 10 mana spell, it's only a 10%. So low cost seem good. If it's right into a tempo mage deck, maybe this goes into Quest Mage. I'm not entirely sure, but I think this card has a lot of potential. The reason why I think this goes into Quest Mage though is because you don't play this turn 1. You just draw this at some point, and then you have a minion that reduces the card in your hand first, and then you can hit it with a frost spell or something. I just think this card's too good not to see play. It just seems pretty nutty. At number 3, I have Battle Worn Vanguard, a 2 mana 2/2 Demon Hunter minion. After your hero attacks, summon 2 1/1 Fellwings. Now, here's the thing about Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter is really good about using their hero power and also making sure their minions attack. This also fits right into the archetype of that token Demon Hunter I was discussing earlier. And this is probably going to be the main reason why that deck is going to be so good, because every single time you attack, you're summoning 2 1/1. So not only is this card a big threat, but on turn 3, this is a 3 mana 4/4 deal 1 damage. And if they don't kill this main dude, you're doing it again. Every single time you summon Fellwings, it's more damage, it's more reduction. It makes your hero or your Kurtrus even better. This card just seems to be what Demon Hunter was missing for a token Demon Hunter deck. I think this is the card that people are going to be really worried about going against them, because if you do not have an answer for this card, it's just going to get out of control. It reminds me a lot of Shatter. If you guys remember that, I think it was like a 3 mana 4/2 after your hero attack, summon a 2/2. Kind of the same idea. Now, we don't have the 2 mana weapon like we used to, the Fellwing, I think it was called, but I think this card will see play at some point. It just seems too good, and if token Demon Hunter is good, it's the reason for this card. But at number 2, Dreadlich Tamsin, the Warlock hero card. 6 mana. This card still baffles my godforsaken mind. 6 mana hero card. Deal 3 damage to all minions. That's great. Warlock in a control deck likes that. Shuffle 3 Rifts into your deck, which if you do not know are 3/3s. When they are drawn, they are summoned immediately, and you draw 3 cards. That is 6 mana, and you gain 5 armor. But not even that. Your hero power becomes Chains of Dread, which shuffles a Rift into your deck, and you draw a card. So instead of taking 2 damage now, you're summoning a 3/3 in your deck, right? And you're drawing a card. So even in Quest Warlock, you're going infinite, but you're scaling past like not taking any damage. You're just summoning 3/3s. I just don't imagine a world where this card is not looked at and being like, what the hell? Why did they make this card so strong? It fits right into a deck already. So it's already the best one by far. There's no disagreeing here. This is the best one. This is the best one by far. I don't know what people are saying when this card's not the best one. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but I was right about Quest Warlock being the most oppressive deck in the format, and I feel like this is the same idea. I can't imagine a world where this is just not going to be good enough. But at number 1, Rune of the Archmage. Listen, this is a very easy card to justify. We don't really need to discuss this at all. It's 9 mana for 20 worth of stats. I don't know, I did the math, and 9 is less than 20, and you're getting 20 mana out of this one card, and that's kind of disgusting. I think overall this card is looking really good for mage, and I'm not excited to play against it, but I'm sure this will be a card that a lot of people enjoy, and I think it just is one of the reasons why you're going to be playing mage this expansion, especially because this card can also be discovered. It's good in every single mage deck there is. Like, you're never not wanting 20 mana worth of mage spells at enemies, right? The fact that it says add enemies too is really, really good. Anyways, that's my top 10 list. I'm excited to see what you guys say in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.